Okay, part two for installing the window and all the parts in the door of my '54 F100. So this is the division bar. Mine's new. It's also, it serves as the front channel for the window. I've already put the vent window assembly in. That seems to be pretty straightforward. My main hang-up was, what order does the rest of this stuff go into the door, so you don't have to take it back out, put it back in, because you put the wrong thing in first. And a couple other hints that I've figured out along the way. There's probably a bunch more. I'm a real novice at this, but I couldn't find any information anywhere, so at least this is a start. So a couple things I do is stick some tape over the end of this thing so that you don't gouge all the paint inside the door. One concern I have is the felt or anti-rattlers in the sill of the door right here. They're not like modern cars that kind of squeegee the water away from running down the window and right into the inside of the door. The rainwater is going to go right in through this crack, down, and just soak the entire inside of the door. So you want to make sure that the paint in there and all the parts aren't going to rust out like they usually do. Probably will anyway, unless you park it in the garage all the time. So put tape over the end of this thing, so when I jam it up in there, it's not going to scratch the paint. And then where that divider goes up through here, I'm going to mask that off so I don't scratch up the paint. No, I'll tell you, the paint on my truck here seems to be really, really fragile. And then getting this thing in there is a real pain. You stick the upper end up in there about as far as you can go, and it's about a ½ inch too long. Unless you can kind of turn this around a little bit. There's a step in here before I do this, but I'll get this done and then I'll talk about that. So if you wiggle this around in there just right, and then push it a little bit, and even then I kind of scratched it right there. Twist it around and down, and we're in. Okay. Now, here's kind of my mistake here. I should have put the window in here first. Just getting the window in past the regulator is not easy to do. And I got to get this thing turned back around now in there. There we are. Now to heat it up through. Now what I'm going to do is go back and put the window in. On the other side I did this, I didn't have a window in there, and then I had to loosen the regulator up and kind of squeeze it in there, which I didn't like doing. So make sure you get it right, right side up. And this I'm going by the tempered new glass. It says tempered on there, and I'm assuming that is supposed to be right side up. So put that baby up in there. Just leave it sitting in there, and then tab right here for the lower connection for this thing. And I have to get around it. That. I'm going to open the vent a little bit. And this division bar, one screw right in, right there, showing up right there. And I got the stainless steel screws kit because I'm mid-50. Because I really don't like the idea of all this stuff rusting out, but I don't know. Don't need to tighten the stuff down too tightly, but need it to snug in place. And another thing is, all these screws come with these star washers. But like these here that go in up here, they go into 2 slotted holes. And I really don't think the star washers are going to do much except cut into the paint a lot more. Leave that raw. So I'm not going to use them. Might try and use washers on them because of the slotted holes, but I'm not tall enough for this. Maybe I'm into the back one. Anyway, I'll get those put in. This kind of pushes up into the vent window rubber and leave it loose because when you get the window in here, you want to adjust it so that the back or rear channel and division bar makes the front channel are parallel and the window has enough slack, but not snug, but in there so that the window will slide through the channels. So that's all, and I'll go to on the next part, part 3. So there's the introduction. This is part 2. Well, another thing on this before I go on. So these 2 bolts hold the bottom flange of the division bar. So does this flange, the bottom end of that, go above the door, the tab on the inside of the door opening, or below it? I don't know. So anyway, the next part, part 3, will be putting in the upper and back channel, and probably the felt, the anti-rattlers that go in here.